Alrighty. Got some time to kill, so why not? See if we can get a little something going here. I'm just waiting for something to show up here. Yak about things, and hopefully someone throws some money at me too. So let's be honest. That's why you do. That's what you do at this level. Time that went a little weird. So wait for someone to show up on a Friday morning while I'm waiting to go in there and get some food. Do 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 do. And the time you know what to do is might not get anybody. This thing is just not checking charge. Brand new freaking cord. And it just ain't happening. Yeah. Nah. Good morning, Richie Pool. There's somebody finally showing up here. Just hanging out. Got about an hour to kill, and hopefully drum a little gas money and other things. Discuss some of the geeky issues of the day. Here we go. And the game dies on me. Okay. Okay. Yeah, well, it is currently about, what time we got here? 8:01. So, adjust your times accordingly here. So. I guess, let's see. I want to dig it. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, 5. Yeah, so West Coast, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of waiting for Kate Mulgrew to come back with a clarification of what the hell she was talking about with that little interview with the Times. Yeah. Okay. Because the way she came across, it's like, okay, on the one hand, you're praising Gene Roddenberry, but then throwing him under the bus and the rest of the franchise with him. So let's see how, being married to a politician, how that's helped her political skills. And when I posted the video, also I tagged her in the Twitter posting. So it'd be interesting to see if she actually responds. Like, no, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. I would not be surprised if it was, because the way these guys operate is everything. Well, look at Lost. I mean, and Fringe especially. Fringe was a blatant ripoff of the X-Files, frankly, in my opinion. Lost seemed like a mashup of Twilight Zone and Gilligan's Island, because the way JJ and his crew operate, they really don't do anything particularly original. It's always kind of a motif of something else. And it just kind of felt, you think, well, you start off by kind of ripping off everybody else, and then you just start taking over. I think they get tired of trying to make up their own type of thing, and just don't take over when it's already there. Now, some people are trying to compare this like work for hire stuff, like with comics. And it's a different situation. It's like if Brian Fuller had been doing like a comic book story for Marvel Comics, yeah, that would have been it. It's work for hire. What do we generate there belongs to them automatically. And if you get credit, because you actually worked on them and produced it, but they still owe it to you. All right. But with television and motion pictures, and which is why there's a writers guild in the first place. You still have creator credit over the thing. You might not own the property and stuff, but the idea and stuff, you still have certain rights, and they can't just use your ideas willy-nilly without at least giving you credit and a paycheck. They got to pay you, and they got to give you credit. And that's where a lot of that is kind of why certain movies have credits a mile long just for the story and the script idea. Not Ryan Johnson. Good morning. Because that's not a case of that many people worked on the movie. It's like that case, somebody came in for a day and a half or something, and they did a pass on the screenplay, and they claim they're still using part of their ideas, and it's easier to just give them a credit and a paycheck than it is to actually fight it. Now, I don't know how much of that was going on with, why there's 21 producers listed for the opening credits for Discovery, which is it's just idiotic. I'm saying no show has that many producers actually working on the show. That's just stupid. Because really, as far as a functional production staff, you're really talking one executive producer who's running and overall in charge of the thing, but mostly his job is running interference with the studio for the most part. You got a line producer who was the showrunner's a term I'm using. You have another producer who's in charge of the nuts and bolts thing. I missed that. I think I'm going to get that back. No. Yeah, Rob got a little on the comment saying, hey, you don't know me very well, do you? And that's where I kind of chimed in with my comments on there, if you haven't been seeing those. So, yeah, I have known Rob, online, granted, but I've interacted with him for over 20 years. It's on the old AOL message boards, really. I think it was just before Free Enterprise. So I kind of got a claim on the I knew him when type of thing. But yeah, he doesn't tolerate this. He's on the lower rung. he's got his own reputation to maintain here. I mean, I'm just some clown on the internet with a using his phone. But yeah, got these things thrown up. Kowalski admits several times he doesn't know how the industry works. Well, then shut the hell up. I mean, I'm not an insider, but I have a little bit of education on how everything works in the industry. So, okay. So basically, it will be an interesting thing because the everything in the show, that's the thing. He used to be rather critical. That's why I started doing him in the first place. He used to be, coming down hard on Discovery. He was as critical as I was half the time. But now he's suddenly turned shill. And everything that comes out, he's excited for. This is going to be great. It's I pledge your enthusiasm and your optimism, but past experience should tell you it's probably going to suck until they change people. Okay. I mean, Rob Burnett tries to be positive, but he also knows that the players involved a little too well. But yeah. All right. Yeah, and he's and he also seems to be definitely on a anti-Midnight's Edge kick. I think he's been mellowed a bit because they let you talk to Tom, and then we'll put a little schooling on just how they operate and all the stuff they don't run with. Because it's not, they try to get more than one source on anything before they run with it. Now, there's a lot of stuff that they could have run with and would have been right. But because they couldn't, get proper verification in their eyes, they didn't run with it. But, in a way, they're kind of... Okay, this, my gut is telling me, frankly, that they are, Kurtzman is out. Okay. There's no way they could put up with the crap he's shelling out and the results he's getting for all that money they're putting out. I mean, he's kind of putting the entire network at risk, frankly. There's no way they could put up with this crap and not, finally just rein him in. Producers have been kind of shoved out of the way for far less reasons than this. Like I keep saying, Don Belisario on NCIS. There was nothing wrong with the work, and they weren't going crazy budget. The only problem is he was micromanaging the script so much that he was holding up production. And that is when Mark Harmon, who was a producer on the show, kind of had to step up and say, Don, you need to step aside because we need to get work done. The scripts are fine. We will handle it. And that's still a very amicable thing because they're still doing his shows, but he's kind of been forced to step back a bit. This is where they're talking millions. I mean, really far more. This is the most expensive Star Trek production in the history of the entire franchise. Needlessly so, because starting up a Star Trek show or Star Trek-like show is going to be idiotically expensive because you have to build everything from scratch. Yeah. And you can't just go out to Home Depot and, pick up a bridge set. You got to build it all from scratch. You got to build the costumes all from scratch. And they kind of amortize it over the time. And that's why, generally, I think Paramount figured out 7 seasons is about right. Because by then, the sets are all paid for. Now it's just actually making money. This is ridiculous. And at that point, I think that's also why they pulled the plug on it. Because now, when it's actually making money, there's no need to spend more money. So they just shut it down. And now they're going on syndication and video sales and all that stuff. So, well, yeah, leading up to this point, because there's been a lot of behind the scenes drama going on with the car, and that's why we're getting the leaks. Happy Productions generally don't leak. And Happy Productions also generally don't employ these kind of tactics to shut up their critics either. These guys are kind of going totalitarian on her. But they have spent far more than they really needed to on this thing. Well, I think that they're trying a new model. I think they're trying to go more of a British model with shorter seasons, which is fine if you're actually working, maintaining the quality of the show, because that's kind of where the Orville is coming in. So instead of having, like 26 episodes and only maybe a dozen of them being good, just focus on the dozen that are good. And it's also a thing about, that JP brought up that was really a good summation of the Orville situation. Orville is moving to Hulu for the good of the Orville. It'll maintain the quality of and keep the show running by moving to the Orville. And it was already running on Orville anyway, and as an adjunct to the live broadcast. Now it's just going to be only on Orville. Yeah, that's really where we should be. But it's also the point where we can't trust these guys because they have burned us so badly with Discovery and with the whole way they've handled the reaction to Discovery, that we can't trust anything that comes out of these guys right now. Listen, there are signs for hope at this point, but that's about it. I wonder what I'm doing here. I got a Family Guy game going on my tablet here. And this is a tough one. But yeah, they brought, and they. I wish I had been in the room when Les Moonves asked them, "Why can't you just do it cheap like the old shows?" It's like, okay. And one less, the shows were not cheap. Okay. Idea of we need to get something out now. Okay, we ain't got time for the rewrite. Just go with it. We'll figure. Hopefully fix it in post. And that's where a lot of shows are, and that's where you get a lot of really subpar episodes, is because they didn't have time to do that last rewrite and fix that one plot twist that wasn't working. Listen, so the one thing that got me a little more interested in when we opened up that little box and you saw a proper, Generations to Nemesis combat, the post, Generations combat. That's okay. They're starting to pay attention now, because I guarantee you, if there was a scene like that in the original version that bombed horribly, that combat probably did not look like that. Well, she's the MacGuffin, okay? She's the thing that everybody wants and has to have, and figure out what's going on. Every story needs one, so you got to have a motivation. You can't just have, a thing of Picard wandering around his vineyard going, oh. The Pinot Noir is looking good this year. I think, no. I suspect with Jeremy Kemp dying, this past, the other day, though, it's like, there will probably be some kind of tribute worked into him somehow in the show. Even though they killed the character off in Generations stupidly. Whoops. But let's see. There's no longer overtly, because you think back when Discovery, when they dropped that teaser trailer, and first got to look at what the ship was kind of going to look like. It was pretty. It was a lot more negative because there was a lot of like, what the hell am I looking at here? Like, Fuller, there's a reason why that ship design was rejected back in the 70s. Okay, it's ugly. For some reason he liked it, and frankly, the way it was presented in the trailer was the teaser was a little better than what they finally wound up with. And I think there are better ways to actually do that design. And also, one thing is that ship, if you look at it, kind of yeah. Also, remember, Patrick Stewart is an actor of some renown and experience, which means that, like all actors, he is a bit of an egomaniac. They all are. They had to be. It's part of the business. So if he starts being shoved aside in his own show, he will make his displeasure known in very clear terms. So he will start to, even though he is pushing 80 right now. I'm going to pull that up. Put that aside for now. And focus on y'all. Right there. I mean, he may not be able to take as, physically active a role, but I think he will insist on, no, this is Star Trek Picard, not Star Trek Raj, or whatever, Daj, or whatever the hell her name is. And he's got enough stage presence. I think he can maintain. I mean, he intimidated the hell out of the rest of the Next Gen cast. They are all nuts. And yeah, he's in it for the paycheck. He's a Yorkshireman. He's not going to turn down a paycheck. But also, he and reporters in Europe, in England, he said, we know you. You would not have come back if there wasn't something, a little more interesting than just saying, hi, I'm Jean-Luc Picard, welcome back. Yeah. So they tease something in there about the character being very radically different. And I think what's probably going on now is they're making me not so radically different. Because the rumor was that he was going to be heading up Section 31. It's like, no. Especially not the way the Kurtzman's got it set up. Kurtzman's got a bug up his ass about Section 31. I got to get some air in here. Like I said, I think the lay of the land now is that Kurtzman has been shoved aside so they can hopefully save Picard, because now everything's going to be riding on Picard now. Yeah, I need more money. That's why I'm doing this, frankly, because somebody's going to throw a super chat at me to ensure that paycheck next month. There's some money at me now so I can get some gas. But still make a note of this. PayPal is www. Oh, he's living very comfortably. He's got a very nice mansion back in England. But you always need more, okay? He's got kids and grandkids, okay? Okay, and just to get this on record, and somebody can put this in the chat. PayPal, let's see. www.paypal.me/Captain Robert April. Captain's abbreviated. They shouldn't be. The CBS network has been around between radio and TV right now close to 100 freaking years. Okay, I mean they started on radio back in the 20s and 30s, so they should definitely know this. I mean the Tiffany network is dealing fool's gold. So, well. Could be, because British theater and British television may not be as forthcoming with company, whatever. And they'll have a production of King Lear up in about a week. But yeah. How long has ever played Lear? I have to look at that. But there is a point, Shakespearean actors' careers, they could go for. There's a point where you play Hamlet in the place and end up you playing Lear. Or kind of cool. At one point you're playing Hamlet, and then you're playing Claudius and Hamlet, and then you're like, eventually, you end up playing King Lear. That's kind of what's like. This is where you're at now. No, kind of, yeah. Well, if you think about it, Gordon Gekko's right. Greed, for lack of a better word, works. Greed is good. Greed drives the system. Where it breaks down is when the greed gets excessive and you start, overloading it with, because you want more than you really need, or can really comfortably, get before you kill the goose that's feeding you. That's a whole mixed metaphor. Okay. Let's see what time we got here. It is 8:24, so we got about another half an hour before. Good Times is not exactly an unbiased source on these sort of things. So Lost Pilots. Which Lost Pilots are you talking about there? Because I don't think there's any lost. I think it's like, the Picard thing is probably the only thing I can think of, really. And that's just, it probably won't be lost for long. I think it'll show up, in the deleted scenes on the DVD set. So this is what we almost had. Okay, why is it locked up? Yeah. Some friends in grade school started feeding me some bowl lines about them being lost episodes and their different uniform designs or whatever, and finally had to make them fess if they were lying. But no, there really aren't any lost pilots for original series. You had The Cage, and you got Where No Man's Gone Before, and then that's it. And other episodes that were proposed as second pilot, but they were eventually made in episodes. So the three that were proposed for the second pilot, it was Naked Anthony. Was the Omega Story, Mud's Women, and Where No Man Has Gone Before. What was that? Oh, dang, here we go. That. I've seen a teaser for that thing on Sue Oliver. I want to see that. Yeah. That looks pretty good. She was only in her 50s when she died. My God. But I'm about 76 when Roddenberry's doing his lecture thing, and he came to Denver at the Mid-Nickel Sports Arena. And his usual thing was he did, brought the blooper reels and his black and white work print of The Cage. And it's kind of fun, with The Cage. It's like, because the color palette was still kind of muted at that point, it took a few minutes to realize this is in black and white. Because wait, that should be blue. Where's the? Oh, okay, I get it now. So. And there's not much different. I think when they trimmed it and meshed it all up with the color footage, and then finally the missing color footage, like there's maybe half a line here and there. That's a little bit trimmed up, but otherwise it's still essentially the whole thing. And I got a script at a little small convention in Oklahoma. It was essentially the finished final draft of The Cage, but yeah, and she was getting she's directing stuff, and really kind of sucks. And the only difference is the name of the captain was James Winter at that point. So it's kind of like interim between rape, So the way the name of the script was started Robert April, then James Winter for a little bit, and then finally Christopher Pike. But now it's like, no. It just went from April to Pike to Kirk. It's not get crazy. I think also at that time, I think the Enterprise being a lot older than it really was, but No, but the Radio Times has been known to push an agenda or two. So, and the questions, you kind of figure they're probably a little bit leading. And of course, Kate Mulgrew, being, good liberal activist she is, slept right for the bait and took it. And suddenly we're all missiles. Now, again, they may be asking too much, Frank, because I did, when I posted the link to the video on Captain Janeway's history lesson, I posted that on Twitter. I did put attention, and her Twitter, real Captain, Kate Mulgrew. Let's see if she comes back with a response of some sort. Because that would be a coup, wouldn't it? Get a little bit of interview with Kate Mulgrew. I would not. George will show up anywhere, I think, if you give him half a chance, because he's a bit of a glory hound, frankly. Walter, yeah, I think they'll be up for it. And Walter's been the most realistic of the whole bunch, anyway. Even when he had his own little beefs with Shatner, but he also remembered his place in the whole thing. Tell you what, Kate Mulgrew didn't buy herself as Mrs. Columbo for the same reason. She was like 25 when she did that part. She knew she was too young. And I think the audience didn't buy it either, because the next, either later that season later, it was changed to Kate Loves a Mystery. They changed it for Mrs. Columbo, because nobody's going to buy Peter Falk and this, 20-something Irish chick. No. Now, Kate Mulgrew has some damage control to do here, because she's been a little more stand up before, so and I loved her response. I was there at I don't know if they changed the Starfish or StarCon, but it was a Denver convention, either Starfish or StarCon. I forget which one it was, because they were doing two at the time. Yeah, and someone asked her, when are we going to see some gay characters on Star Trek? And I loved her response. You already have, dear. You already have. Can you tell what you are looking at? You don't worry. You have. It's not a part of the story. That's why you haven't seen it. They made a blatant thing, but no, they're there. Yeah. And it was a great response on there, because it really puts the thing. How are you going to tell the character is gay or straight or whatever without some overt, signal, the whole thing? That was one of the comments about, with the kind of shot down David Gerald's Blood and Fire script. Was, how is it going to be portrayed? Are we going to have, and Roddenberry made the comment, how do we portray gays without, having like sashaying down the hallway or holding hands or whatever, without being, flouncing around. So, hi, I'm the gay character. It's like, you weren't going to do that. So, I don't doubt it. Yeah. Actors weren't. Well, dig a little bit on that, because I am quite sure that Walter was married during the original series. Now, I'm wife, because again, he was married during the original series, and he's only on there 2 years, so that's a pretty narrow window. But there's, like, a lot of people, they start telling these stories over and over again through the years, and you gotta punch it up a bit for them, because you can't just keep the exact same story. You got to punch it up a bit over the years. Because I want you to know, and I hate to do this, because picking on the Nichelle Nichols, the state she's in, but well, the obvious joke would be they fell down on the turbo lift shaft, because that's how they killed their character off on LA Law. But no, the audience response was like, we don't like her. Bring back, Gates McFadden, and then and they were been to admit that we kind of screwed up. So thank you, Diane, for your service, but we won't be needing this year. We're bring back Gates McFadden. So, and that provided story fodder for a while, because they did with Wesley had been without his mother for a year, so that got a few points. But they were trying to recreate Dr. McCoy with Pulaski, and maybe try and rebuild that Spock McCoy feud with her feud with Data. But the thing is, Spock was not an innocent. He could give as well as he got. Whereas picking on Data was like kicking a puppy. Because Data had no idea what was going on at the time. So that was like, that just came across as mean. And I think making her a Captain Picard groupie probably didn't help things. So, yeah. It was time to bring back Gates. Yeah. But no, I was going somewhere. All right, where are we at here? Is 8:35. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, Kate's got a little bit of bridge repair, because she's always been really good with the crowd, even when advocating positions I don't necessarily agree with. Because she's very anti-death, leaning towards we need to be really, really sure before we stick the needle in. And see when Walter and his wife got married. But yeah, okay, now it's good. Yeah, but they tend to punch these things up over the years to try and make them more interesting. So people seeing them year after year. I used to tell that story 30 years ago. No, you got to make it more interesting. You got to find new stuff to talk. And I think you got to get back and Nichelle Nichols and the Martin Luther King thing. And what I've heard, somewhere out there, maybe there might still be some videotape of her doing on but. Go for the earliest accounts. Like I think maybe even might dig that Ebony interview about why she stuck around past the first year, why she came back and thing. And really, any reference to Martin Luther King did not show up until fairly late in the game. It's like even the early 70s. I think apparently what I've heard, and again, take it for what it's worth, but from what I heard. In the early 70s, when she told it was a hypothetical. It was kind of what would Martin Luther King say in the situation? Well, again, by that point, it had been 20 years. Okay, so she held up well, but years go by. But originally Nichelle was talking about a hypothetical. What would Martin Luther King say? About when you start thinking, should I stay with the show? Should I, and he would point out the claim that my family are all fans. That's been disputed by the kids. Said, no, we weren't Star Trek fans. That didn't make us watch Star Trek. I don't know what she's talking about. And I think there's been some question about what NAACP rally. There were no rallies during that time period. So yeah, it's a great story. It's very inspirational, and that gives her a good reason to come back for the show. But it's gotten to the point where it's like get her with this because my God, she's in her 80 something now. And her dementia is fine. And I think it's like you just tell the story often enough, you start to believe it after a while. So again, she probably at this point, and probably has for the past years. At a point, there was a very big period there, especially in the 70s, where this was their sole income. They weren't getting work, or not enough to make a deal. The lifeline to these guys, and you got to put on a good show. Bell, the King, and really amping up the importance of her presence there. When, if you get a little objective and harsh, she was the operator. She was the phone operator on the bridge. She was working the switchboard. Because she has got, talking about fourth in command, and that was okay. Wait a minute. She, let's look at this a little more logically here on Nichelle. Uhura, wow, perfectly capable of commanding the ship. She was not that far up in the hierarchy, unless she was like the only, unless everyone on the bridge dropped dead and there was no time to get anybody else up there. Third in command was Scotty. Fourth probably would have been Sulu. Okay. I'm not sure what that is about. Okay. And so as they're starting to show, there were a lot of people in line for the command chair ahead of you. Okay, not saying you couldn't do it, but it's like chain of command is rather strict. You don't just let anybody carry around. Sorry, JJ. Getting command of the ship is not the equivalent of Red Rover. That's what kind of galled me a little bit. Like, these people have no idea how the military operates. Hierarchy. But yeah, I would never confront her with this, though, because it's a mystique around that story. And that would be something I would not want to really do any serious. She's on a farewell tour right now. She's having to get around in a wheelchair. She was getting kind of slow last time. I was kind of making up because she was supposed to be given command in Cat's Paw. But somebody nixed that and they brought back LaSalle. But yeah, the Lorelai thing, that was kind of a make-up thing. Okay, Nichelle, now's your chance. But even then, they had to pretty much incapacitate every male crewman on the ship in order to make it work. But you listen to that line reading, it's like, I'm taking command of the... Yes! Okay. Well, yeah, in the end, what the hell does that fourth officer, what the hell does that mean? Okay. I think she's the fourth officer on the bridge. It's like, all right, basically, if you're a bridge officer, you'll be there. But as far as being actually in the chain of command of, like if you got time to breathe a little bit, it's like, so-and-so report to the bridge, she wasn't going to get that chair anytime soon. Okay. All right. And again, there's like, well, you get past Scotty and Sulu, it's a little sketchy beyond that point. Because in Cat's Paw, they brought in LaSalle, for God's sakes, and he hadn't been seen since the first season. I think it was like This Side of Paradise was his last episode, and suddenly he's back. Assistant Chief Engineer. Okay, well, yeah, and that also. Well, they kind of look like Sleesteks anyway, just in the big buggy eyes. Oh, that was another thing. Apparently, the version of Picard that bombed horribly, they apparently featured the Klingorks. And that's probably one of the reasons why it bombed so badly. Like, no! Get those things off my screen. If this is part of it, I'm out. It's, I think the word is starting to spread. The Discovery is not, well, it's obvious looking at it. It's not the same Discovery. It's the same continuity. It can't be the same continuity. The ships look too different. And part of the problem with prequel, if you're going to do a prequel, yeah, I know. All right. Yeah, she would assume the helm, a couple of times. On the one hand, it showed equality, but also on the second hand, I mean, they didn't have to, script anybody coming in and hiring another actor. It's like, Well, she was shooting LA Law at the same time, I think. That's just next gen. Or within, like, from one to the other, elaborate hairdos, like, Yeoman Rand. And the big bouffant thing was gone by that point anyway, so it was normal hair by that point. And I think I'm going to have to run the engine a bit here to get some air going in here. Because you got a big mower going on out there. One thing about this car, it's very airtight. So it doesn't take long to suck up all the free oxygen. And unfortunately, the windows do not work. And I've tried splicing the fuse. It's probably something in the circuit box under the hood. Well, Lana Muldur, and I think it is actually pronounced Muldur. She made a point of that in her Starlog interview. It's pronounced Muldur, not Muldur. Uh, she's got kind of a Maggie Smith type of look to her, anyway. I mean, there's a little story going on back when she was on the original series. Probably, I think, for All Our Yesterdays. Oh no, it was Return to Tomorrow. And Shatner was hitting on her real hard. Yeah. Maria Muldaur, yeah. But Shatner was coming on, yeah. He's getting around. But I think the case of, Shatner's marriage was really going under, mainly because he kept doing this, but he was coming up to her full court press. And Jimmy Doohan, didn't like the commissary or whatever. And he can't quite hear what's going on, but he knows what he's doing. He's making a play on her. And she finally lets out the thing, "You silly little man, if I was going to fuck anybody, it'd be Jimmy Doohan." And that just made Jimmy's day. It's like, wow, take that. Autobiography. And he said, give Shatner credit. That thing just rolls off him like water off a duck's back. He didn't take it personally at all. It's like a big game to him, I think. And I kind of wonder, if this was for Return to Tomorrow, then No Beauty. That could really add a little bit to their performance when he's going after her, kind of browbeating her, and what have you done to Spock? And he's making him, with my words, I'll make you hear such ugliness as Spock saw with his eyes. It's like, oh! That could have played into it. Okay, it is 8:49. And for the record, I am just below a quarter of a tank again. But it sticks a bit there. Because last week I filled it up, and it took a long time for it to finally recognize that and go up to full. It was stuck. It hadn't gone on the ground, so it was in there. So it just something mechanically stuck in the tank. But yeah, I'm sitting around putting out. So again, if you feel so inclined. It says www. And the super chats. Super chat should be live and open. So, but I think she's definitely, she liked working for Roddenberry because she showed up in the Planet Earth spot with a second attempt at Earth 2. And she came running back for Next Gen. So, all right. Dang, we got 10 people in here. Okay. All right. Got about 10 minutes or so before I got to, pull the plug on this and go inside. But yeah, I think one of these days I'm going to do a little digging. And there's got to be an event. There's got to be some record somewhere of what NAACP events were going on. Yeah, Earth 2, that's where Marianne Hartley sprouted 2 belly buttons. And that was kind of a make good on when she was in All Our Yesterdays and they had to cover up her belly button. I think that was had to give the censors one thing because they'd kind of gotten away with a few belly buttons previously for a while. So, let me show you some over here. And then while she's away being, playing, flip it down, show the belly button, do the scene. And it went out. It's like it couldn't do research at that point. Like, okay, fine. The world didn't end. The moon stayed in orbit. You take a clearly stated standards of practicing, no navels, no belly buttons. I mean, even the guys. Because where Shatner's doing a scene, his pants are up above his belly button. And they had the advantage of was holding in the gut. But again, that was like, come on. There's very high-waisted pants on the guys, too. They were equal opportunity prudes. So I think it was like, no, one more and we're gonna come after you. So Marianne Hartley had the suffering of them keeping that belly button covered up. I think what's her face who played Droxine and Cloudminders, I think they got that because they stuck a jewel in her belly button, I guess. I don't know. But that might not have been enough. And they no, you can still see her belly button. That's a very low cut. Dude, that went way below. That was almost, you can tell whether or not she shaved or not. But, and where are we at here? 8:54. Should probably start thinking about wrapping this up. So for folks coming in late and watching this afterwards, I'll be posting the links down below for the PayPal and Patreon, all yada yada. And hopefully I can come up with something to discuss later today, put up a proper video. In the meantime, those who did come out, thanks. Like to know, folks out there listening. And I think we will talk at you later. Oh yeah, at some point do it again. Yeah, that's good.